patients that are using insulin pumps, the Insights tab can be particularly useful as it allows clinicians and patients to see how the events and features that are unique to an insulin pump are impacting the diabetes management. Here you can see that we start on the Set and Site Change tab. Here we can see how frequently a patient is changing the set or site that their pump is located. You can see, for instance, that this patient has changed their pump set after 2 days, they have changed it 5 times after 3 days, and they have changed it 3 times after 4 days. This allows the clinician and patient to see if the patient is sticking within the recommended guidelines. And perhaps here, where the patient changed it after 2 days, there was an issue with the pump that they would then want to discuss with their clinician further. This helps highlight that opportunity and gives the chance for them to discuss this and the clinician to offer guidance of how to deal with this specific instance. As we scroll down, you can see the date and time of each one of these events and the time since the last set or site change. You'll see on the right hand side we have each of the events lined up here down the black line. We can see glucose control for 12 hours prior to the event and for 6 hours after the event. This allows us to see if how the event has actually been handled has impacted glucose management. For instance, inserting a cannula into a hard, fatty lump, this may impact how insulin is absorbed by the body and might be something that a clinician would want to explore further with a patient and offer an education opportunity. As we go on to the next tab, the temporary basal decrease and suspend, we can see a similar report, showing again the date and time of each one of these events. We can see what the temporary basal rate was reduced to or how much it was reduced by. For instance, it was reduced down here to 0 units per hour. However, here we can see that in this event it was reduced by 50%. We can see the duration of each one of these temporary basal decrease or suspends. And on the right hand side, we can see that the actual decrease or suspend is the event between these two black lines. Now, each 15-minute portion of an event is separated by this grey dotted line shown here. So for instance, this 30-minute event has 2 segments separated by this one grey dotted line. However, if we were to go to this event here, where we have an hour and a half as the duration, we can see that there are 6 15-minute portions to this event. For each event, we can see glucose control for 1 hour prior to the event and for 4 hours afterwards. This allows a clinician to see if a patient is activating the temporary basal decrease and suspend at the correct time, perhaps to prevent a hypo. You can see as we scroll down that this patient has, for instance, activated it here on Friday, January the 21st, and that we can see what has happened in this instance. The patient has avoided going hypo and the glucose values pick up within target range. Maybe they would like to assess all of these and see if a patient is generally using the functionality as they would recommend. Alternatively, they can click over to the temporary basal increase, again to see how this event has been used. They can see how much the temporary basal rate has been increased by, for how long, and again, similarly to with the decrease or suspends, they can see how long the event was active and the impact that it has had on glucose control, both during the event and for 4 hours afterwards. Hopefully you find the Insights tab useful and it helps you gain deeper insights into a patient's self-management.